What's going on, Tamers? Welcome to DigiPod, the digital podcast. I'm your boy Varney, today in the studio with my boy Dan. What's going on?
What's going on, Varney? 2 weeks in a row, just us two again. Feels like the old times.
It's the good old times, baby. If y'all have been listening since the start, you know this is how we started. It was just the Dan and Varney show. I don't even remember what the fuck we talked about. I don't even remember what our first podcast was about. Oh, man.
Probably introduction of us, and then probably whatever decks we were playing at that time, and what we thought about Digimon, and how we got into Digimon. I know that was one of the things too.
Maybe. It's so far back. We're in 2024. That was 2 years ago. Golly.
Oh, I thought it was 2021 for a second.
No, we're in 2024 now, baby.
Yeah. No, 2022. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
So, y'all know the deal. You know, we talk locals first, but we live in Pennsylvania. In other words, we get every extreme of every season. So, it just snowed, and in typical Pennsylvania fashion, it snowed like a motherfucker. Sunday was
a northeasterner. That's what they called it. Yeah.
Saturday night into Sunday was bad. I didn't feel like driving down because I live an hour away. Dan lives close, but Dan lives up in the Poconos. If you guys are from around the Northeast, you will know the Poconos.
Yeah,
the Poconos are pretty infamous.
It's so crazy. So I'm not in the Poconos just yet, but I'm like right before, but still the Poconos area.
It's still Poconos area.
So it's so funny. Like up where I am, we got probably about 12 inches of snow. We got a foot of snow probably. If you go like 20 minutes down to Strasbourg, they got maybe like 10. And then you go another 30 to like where there's more than 30, 45 minutes to where Varney is. They got like 5 to 6 inches of snow, something like that. Like the extremes are so wild, just like within like an hour drive. Like I remember used to going from Reading back to Strasbourg, and the extremes of like emptiness of Reading and emptiness of like starting to see the color of snow to Allentown or whatever, and then just like bam, there's just like piles of it. That's
what happened. That's what happened when Jasmine and I visited you. Like nothing by us. It looked clear as all hell, like a nice, pre-winter day. And then we hit like somewhere along that route. I think when we got onto like 80 or whatever it is, and there was like snow, like flurries on the ground, like just like a thin layer of snow. And I'm like, golly.
Yeah, if it rains in Strasbourg, it's snowing up in the Poconos, most likely.
Yep. That's the difference in climates. So yeah, they got slammed. We didn't, but our snow was bad enough where, people don't know how to drive.
Yeah.
And roads were plowed overnight, which was a good thing. Because sometimes Allentown ain't the best with it, but it is what it is.
Bro, I was so sick. So this first snowstorm in this new community we're living in, and they must have like plowed like half of the night. Bro, I went out there. I was like, damn, I got a lot of snow out here. I see the roads. I'm like, why is it so white? I go over there. It's like at least another like 4 inches of snow on the roads. I'm just like, how do they not expect us to go out? What if we were a type that had to go out to work on a Sunday? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what if it was an emergency? I was not getting out for shit. I was so mad.
Not only are you not getting out, where Dan lives, it's in such a sticky place where any mishap, any slip, like not even driver mishap, just you hit ice or you don't see something on the road, which is entirely plausible because it's like a raised surface and then there's grass here. Like if one tire is off of the road,
GG.
It's a pretty sketchy situation.
And depending on your cell service, you might not have service in certain areas.
Yes. Yeah, it's rough out there in the Poconos. People who live up there, I'm like, y'all a real one. I couldn't deal with the snow like that. I already can't deal with the snow over here, let alone if I was living up in the Poconos.
I hate it with a passion.
All right. Anyways, that's enough of that snow talk. For those of you who live out in California, I would like to say I feel bad for you, but I don't, because you guys have Digimon events near you. So, I would trade Snow for Digimon any day.
All day, every day.
All day, every day. So we didn't go to locals because of that, but we did have our TBL, which happened on Friday the 5th. It was our first EX5 proxy tournament in which nobody seemed to be wanting to, they played EX5 decks, but I didn't see any Anubismon. Granted, we weren't commentating. We were actually playing in the tournament because we were using it as practice for ourselves. I went a whopping 0-2. And yes, you heard that right, 0-2. That's because I had a bye win. Ooh, yay.
So you were 1-2. You was 1-2.
No, it's 0-2. No, that was 0-2. I was so pissed. I was like, I'm trying to play. I'm trying to practice. I don't want this fucking bye.
How you gonna feel when you have those 2 first-round buys at Nats?
That's different. That's different. Right now, I'm trying to be on that grind, bro. I went 0-2 with Black War Gray. I was really on a Black War Gray train for Nats. I thought it could do well. I thought the training boost gave it some speed. And it does, don't get me wrong, but like Anubis is like one step faster than it. Leomon, I fucking went to time against Leo. I didn't go to time. It just like, it was so drawn out because it was so back and forth. It was like raise, promote, de-digivolve, delete, prevent, come up, wipe stack. Next thing you know, Heaven's Judgment, flashy boss punch. I'm like, son of a bitch, I can't get past this shit. So I was like, yeah, Black or Gray ain't the way.
My whole thing was when it came to Black War, I was like, I can't even be a Leomon deck with this deck. What's the chances of me beating? Realistically, the chance of seeing a Leomon is probably more like, it's probably gonna be like 5% of people playing Leomon at Nats most likely. But like, man, like I always think like if I can't deal with rogue decks with a deck, why would I think I could beat a tier 1?
It's not even like it's difficult. It's just that it's a pain in the ass because they got two, like they tend to have 1 to 2 D-Digivolve inheritables, and there's no way to get around that. And then on top of that, they've got Indomitable. So either it's coming back out, then you have to try to deal with it again. But if you're D-Digivolved, you can't Hades Force. Or if they've got DP negging, they might get you down to a point where they can come out and then blow your stack away. Or alternatively, they'll just do like Gino did and just raise a rookie and then Heaven's Judgment your ass.
Damn, just like that.
I had a whole ass Skyomon sitting there, or Black or Gray, whatever it was. You know what he did? He raised a rookie and he played Heaven's Judgment and he put me to 7. And I was like, 18. I was like, yeah, fuck you, buddy.
Hey, I have God of the breath of the gods in hand.
That was so tragic. So, yeah. It's not even that, like, I'm sure we could deal with it if we wanted to, but like, my intention for going into Nats is, I'm a yellow player, y'all know me, but for all intents and purposes, I'm not going into Nats to try to tie. No way, Jose. I don't want any ties, and I damn sure don't want the chance for ties. And Yellow Vaccine, that's definitely a deck that I can see tying, not because of me, but because of people playing against the deck. Because sometimes I've had it happen. I recover to all hell. Like, I'll just go up my line. I'll do my thing from 5 security up to 8. Next thing you know, for example, Heaven's Judgment. Stack is gone. I've got 8 security. They can't kill me, but now I'm sitting here trying to struggle to build the next stack that they can easily deal with, and I can't close out game. So I'm not trying to play Yellow Vaccine. Now, I haven't tried the Mitamamon and the new vaccine stuff from EX5, so I still do want to lab that a little bit, but that boat has departed. It's departed. I am no longer anywhere near that harbor, especially Black War Gray. Black War Gray got sunk. We took the missiles from places that shall not be named. We launched it. We hit the red button. We said, fire missiles. Poof. That boat has sunk. Those cards are back in the binder. I'm not playing Black War Gray. I'm not playing any Greymon deck.
It needed Gray X. It needs
Gray X, and it doesn't even need Gray X. It does to keep up, but then even then, it's like it needs more. Funny enough, it needs more.
I don't know. I would say Gray X is what it will keep it relevant.
It will keep it relevant a little bit, and until you start dealing with D-Digivolve 1, D-Digivolve Inheritables on a Leomon, And you're like, yeah, I still can't get around this.
But here's the thing, though, right? Previously, you were probably passing turn with a Metal Greymon sometimes, right? But if you have the Gray X, you can enter that Metal Gray X consistently and keep turn and still pop off, but potentially going to like Black Hole Greymon X, Gaiomon or something. So then that DigiGuard becomes irrelevant.
Yeah, you know what? It's possible, especially because then I would just play 3 of the BT11 Metal Gray X, and I'd use the Raid, the combination of Raid and...
Yeah, you could do that as well.
What's it called? The X Antibody, so I could swing into that pesky fucking stack, and then Metal Gray X, so I get the Digivolve protection, but be able to pop the bitch. Then Hades force its ass away. Yeah, that would be viable.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's tough times we live in here. Tough times we live in out here, boys.
Yeah, for sure.
How about you, Dan? What were you playing?
I was testing out because we was having a conversation about Black Greymon, which led to my OTK Black Greymon deck. And I was like, I think this is fast enough. It's a solitaire deck, basically. You don't really have to worry about too much of what they're doing. You just gotta worry about controlling what you are doing. And now with the in-training boost, I think it gets even better. So it's just as we were playtesting today against Anubis. Arguably, you can say if you hit the right spots, it's just as fast, right? You can still pop up at just as fast.
You have to time it.
Sure, yeah, you have to time it.
If they time
your draws also matter as well. Like if you see the lines going on and you just keep going, then you just go ham. So I was playtesting that. I went 2-1. What did I play it against? I don't remember. Yellow. So I know round 1 was something. I don't remember what round 1 was, honestly.
I'll tell you.
Round 2 was yellow vaccine for sure.
You played against Panzer round 1, so I can assume Panzer was playing some sort of rush shenanigans.
No, he wasn't playing rush shenanigans. He was playing D Reaper, playing against D Reaper.
That's rush shenanigans. It's called D Reaper Rush.
Yeah, in a sense. So he's playing D Reaper. It was a good little match. I went 2-0 though. I just saw everything. I was able to just raise up, boom, 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 and then kill him. He did get a gatekeeper out, which slowed me down, but he never got enough sources underneath it for the gatekeeper to matter. And yeah, that's what happened. And then game 2, same thing, but I went even faster. I think it was like turn 2.
He said, "I'm going turbo."
I went like cool boy. I legit was a cool boy, and that was it. And then I just ended up like having the perfect hand or whatever it was, and just popped off.
Chimeramon OTK decks, man.
Chimeramon was super clutch because like he had like 3 small bodies on board. I was like, all right, Chimeramon, neg 4. I still had to pass turn, I think, at one point. And then the turn after, when Black Greymon went for game, basically. So that was an interesting thing. I think D Reaper is a low-key good sleeper pick, especially if you expect it to be a lot of purple and Nats. They can't
be faster than them, yes.
I mean, yeah, but Anubis can't do anything. They can't pop anything because it's all level-based. There's no levels.
Right. If you can get your gatekeeper out and online faster, then they can out you. Then
I get where you're pointing, but I'm saying I think it's a good sleeper pick for the Nats. So
that's what we say. That's what we say every time. That's what it was for Ultimate Cup.
We always see one. We always see 1 or 2 in top 16. Top 16. Yeah, we definitely seen him.
I haven't seen any D Reaper tops in the last 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, not in this Ulti Cup, but the previous Ulti Cups, there was top 16s.
Oh, that's outside of my memory banks. You're...
Oh my god, this guy. Anyways, and then I played Yellow Vaccine. That was a little bit troublesome. But we got the dub 2-1. Game 1, I was missing Chimeramon, and he just popped off. He ended up getting a board with a Black Seraphi, and I couldn't deal with it. Game 2.
Yes.
Game 2, I popped off, and that was it. Game 3, I had to switch up I think it was game 3. I had to switch up the style, the way the deck was, because I drew into Metal Greymon BT8. And he had a Black Seraphi on board.
He dropped that Black Seraphi on you again. Yeah. Yep.
So I was like, all right, cool. I had enough, whatever it was, to keep turn. So I went Metal Greymon, popped his stuff, popped the D-Digital, I should say. Digivolve the Black Serafi. He had a rookie or something on board, killed it. Then I went to a Black Hole Greymon and then swung over his stack, and then I just went kind of control board, and then I popped off because promo Black Hole Greymon, great card. Digiverse 2 unsuspend. So I ended up doing that, and that's how I got the dub. And then round 3, I played against, I don't know if you want to call it the mirror, but it's Black Hole Greymon. So I was playing against that, and he just, I expect Black Hole Greymon to be slower, and he just had perfect God hands every time. And I just couldn't do anything. Once you get a blocker on board, and if you're not set up yourself in that deck, you're kind of just slow too. Because they could just wait till you end. You could take out the whole security, and they have a blocker. You're down to all the way 11k most likely at that time, and then they just block. And he had a Gaiomon, and that's what happened basically both times.
Oh, you're supposed to swing over Gaiomon. Come on now, you got the BT8 inheritable.
No, I didn't.
Well, you should.
It's only one. Yeah.
You should have told the deck, listen, I need the heart of the cards right now. Yeah. I've got to channel my inner Yugi Moto, and I got to draw into this BT8 Black or Gray.
I did not
BT8
have
Metal Gray.
I did not have the heart of cards in that matchup. The yellow vaccine one I did a few times. But yeah, I think I dropped all the way to 5th, I think it was, because of the way the tiebreakers happened, because the table 1 tied. So that just made everything all crazy looking. But yeah, the couple things I switched immediately was I added Sec Attack +1, Greymon. So that I don't need like that Gaiomon, for example, right? I had as much sources enough for the kill, but if I would have had a Sec Attack +1, then that means he would have had to block way sooner, which means I would have killed a stack, which means I will still be able to continue swinging. So that was something I really noticed with that.
You know what else you should play in that deck?
Yeah,
you should play BT9 Gaiomon. Just like 1 or 2. It still digivolves from Black or Gray, so it digivolves from the promo. It has a D-digivolve and the Blitz built in, so you can still swing. You can get inheritables.
I mean, I still could over even a Chimeramon as long as I have the black source underneath, which is still possible, I guess.
About half the deck, if so much. Like, I think it gives a lot of value. It outs things that you don't necessarily need to worry about pulling into BT8 Metal Gray for. Yeah,
for sure. It's a good idea, for sure. I might throw that around.
Just like 1 or 2. I mean, you got so much search in that deck, you don't need to, like, obviously your game plan is promo Black or Gray, but if you need to, whether it's Sec +1 swing, like you get hit with like a Odin's Breath or something, or you're trying to get rid of a Shadow Seraphimon, and you don't have the BT8, D-Digivolve the bitch. I think it's a good ad. Sure. And it still synergizes with the rest of the inheritables.
Yeah.
Fucking 17, 19k
it'd be like swing. 19k Black or Greymon. It'd be some shenanigans sometimes. Yeah, that was a good idea, potentially.
So, Burrito, shout out, Burrito, won the tournament. Now, we had a 2-way tie. It was a 2-way tie. So, like, technically, but, like, because tiebreakers, Burrito won the tournament because he had the better opponent win percentage. They should have finished their match, but, like, I was playing and I wasn't really paying attention to, like, the running of the tournament. So, blah, 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 blah. TLDR. Burrito won with SecCon. He went 2-0-1. SecCon list playing the fabled Magna Angimon Ace because hard drop Magna Angimon Ace for 4, turn 1, recover 1. So, still a good play. And then Digivolve into either a Seraphimon or a Black Seraphimon. Also, 2 very good plays. He gets really spicy with this, and he was playing Hero's dad. What is his name? Haruto Amanokawa?
Yeah, I know you're talking about. It's a white tamer, right?
Yeah, he's a white tamer. Yeah. He's from, what's it called? RBO1. Let me see what this tamer does here. So he says, start of your turn if your opponent has 3 or more tamers, you gain a memory. And then all turns when an opponent plays a Digimon by suspending this tamer, gain 1 memory if that Digimon is level 4 or higher, and draw 1 if it is level 3. So, against the likes of Anubismon, where they play out a Mervamon, and then they subsequently play out 2 level 4s, if you've got a couple Hokuto,
both, right?
Hokuto.
You will get both effects if, like, let's say you had
when
it.
an opponent plays a Digimon, gain 1 if it's level 4 or higher, and draw 1 if it's level 3. No, because you can only be 1 level at a time. But like if you have like 2 or 3 of these, you know, it's kind of like a Takumi. Back in the day, if you swing a level 3, you lose 3 memory past turn, or the same thing that Kari does for the deck, which he plays 4 of. You know, take 1 swing at security, lose 3 memory type thing. So good card. Got some spicy text in here, i.e. Holy Sunshine. That's a neg 5k on 3 different Digimon and Sec +1. It's kind of a lot for the card, to be honest. I don't see like where the value in it is. Just because I'm like, if I'm gonna play an option card for 7, like, I mean, I guess against an Anubis board, but then like against an Anubis board, I'd also just drop Dexmon for 8.
Yeah. How much is the cost of the Holy Sunshine again?
7.
Oh yeah, I'm dropping Dex instead.
Like the only thing it does is it prevents like Anubis from swinging for game. But like I would rather just drop Dexmon for 8. Or I don't know, Magna Angemon, kill off a body, Digivolve Black Serafi, then say haha GG, deal with it. Like, I don't know. A lot of things. But it's still, I mean, Seccon always perpetually like good rogue deck. Seccon is never really bad until we get a deck that literally is like a Seccon killer, to the likes of like Rookie Rush, how Rookie Rush was nerfed, but also how it made a comeback off of Ukomon and
for sure
Louis. So always a good list to play. In second place, we had Leppy. Leppy was playing his Leomon shenanigans. But this wasn't just any Leomon deck. This was Leomon featuring the fabled Leopardmon. I know Dan loves his Leopardmon. Did you play against this? Is this the one? No, you played against
I didn't
Genos.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a deck that definitely has. I think it's good. I mean, Elecmon, the Digivolve one, has inheritable.
Yeah.
Leomon has the same inheritable. But then you've also got Salamon Searchers, and then you've got the Leolmon line with the Leomon, so like the lion tiger form of Leomon, whatever. Both of those lines are pretty decent. Like one searches security, the other one searches deck. They've got the different inheritables on the Digivolve and the -2k. They've got the Indomitable. But I think the biggest thing is just the fact that Leopardmon X spams them out for cheap, has that built-in removal, and then it combos very nicely with the Bancho Leomon that he's playing. Bancho Leomon, just a disgusting card. I think this card's gonna be a lot better going like post the X5 as people like get in, especially in English, get more familiar with the cards and everything. This card says all turns when a Digimon becomes suspended, you may give one of your opponent's Digimon -4k DP, and it gains Sec -1 until the end of your opponent's turn. This means they can't take chip swings, because if they take a chip swing, that Digimon might die. It means that
which card again?
Bancho Leomon.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You can't take chip swings because that Digimon might die. Like against the likes of Anubismon, this can't, not saying it's like amazing, but like it can be good. It plays down for 7, comboed with the likes of Flashy Boss Punch, which Leppy doesn't run. But I know Gino runs Flashy Boss Punch. And I think it's just like a really good generic, especially for a Leomon card. I don't think we've had what's it called? Is Dino Tigermon considered a Leomon card, or no? Is that different?
No, Dino Tigermon is just an XA antibody thing.
Okay, so
but I mean, I'm sure you can have Leomon Digivolve into.
No, I'm just saying, like in terms of like Leomon level 6s, I think there might only be one other good Leomon level 6. Am I right to say that? And it's not even like it's an amazing level 6.
The new Saber Leomon? He's alright. Is it the new
Saber? Yeah, I think that's like the best that we had.
Yeah.
And that's not saying a lot.
Oh,
Dino Tiger is
he is a Leomon.
Yeah, he's the X form. Okay, so Dino Tigermon is cool too. Not like amazing though, not amazing. The BT13 Bancho Leomon,
way better.
BT13 EX5, yes. And then of course there's Heavy Leomon, which is a monster in and of his own right. I definitely think
Dino Tigermon is Evo for 1 from Saber Leomon. So it's Saber
It's a
Leomon's
Leomon
X
X
antibody.
form,
Yeah, Saber Leomon's
Saber
X form.
Leomon's
Yeah.
X form. Yeah.
When attacking, if a card with Leomon as name or X antibody is in this Digimon's Digivolution card, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers. Once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon or Tamers could suspend unsuspend this Digimon.
Yeah, it's.
So I mean,
it's
you could go some niche things with the new Saber Leomon, maybe, but they're trash in comparison to a Bancho.
In comparison to Bancho, yeah, it's if Heavy Leomon hadn't come out in the same set as it, I'd say it's the best Leomon card.
Oh, Heavy Leo!
Leomon.
I forgot about the Heavy Leo. That's a good card too.
Heavy Leo is insane. Heavy Leo is, it's Indomitable. It's a when Digivolving and on deletion with that Indomitable for the D-Digivolve and a 6K or less bottom deck. That means on the Digivolve, you D-Digivolve, sorry. And then if it dies, you get the on deletion to D-Digivolve again. Most times, more often than not, that level 4 is going to be 6K or less. So it's basically removal while getting to play itself out, which is why this card is such a pain in the ass for black or gray, especially if you don't have sources stacked properly. Because then if you just went like from level 5 in a black or gray X or a Gaiomon, well, ideally Gaiomon would D-Digivolve this, but if it's a black or gray X, then you get D-Digivolve into a metal gray. And then if it dies, then you get D-Digivolved into a level 4, and you get bottom decked, and there ain't shit you can do about that because you're at your level 4, you don't have protection. And then let's not forget the end of attack that either has an unsuspend or a bottom deck 4K or less. Like, if it wasn't for Heavy Leomon, I'd say Bancho Leomon is the best level 6 that we have gotten. But
yeah, Heavy Leomon is really good. Yeah.
Big contender for a really fucking good Leomon card.
Hey, yo, I just realized, side note, this man Leomon got some really good like mega level Digimon that are like archetypal, like his own, like it's his. He has 4 megas if you think about it, right? You got Saber Leomon, the OG. You have Heavy Leomon that came out in Digimon Re-Arise. That was his like new form. You have the Bancho Leomon, and then you have the Dino Tiger Mon, which is kind of crazy as 4. And if you want to be real spicy and say 5, you could say 5 with Grap Leomon, because Grap Leomon technically goes into a Marsmon in like Digimon World 3. I don't remember. Yeah, it was Digimon World 3.
It's
so if you want to say Marsmon counts as one of those, then yeah, but like it's kind of crazy. Like he's a side dude with a lot of like real his main he has main megas like lines and stuff. It's kind of crazy. Yeah,
that's very true. It's about time too. We've gotten so many Leomon cards.
Like you think about it, right? Like for example, right? Kabuterimon, Tentomon, right? It's only really like Hercules Kabuterimon and Tyrant Kabuterimon. He was probably more important than fucking Leomon was. Like I'm just saying, like it's kind of crazy. Like he has like more like real megas than like others.
Hey, it's about damn time with all of the Leomon support that we've gotten. That's just kind of like fallen flat on its face. I mean, we've seen it be blue, then we've seen it be green, and now we see it come back to being like hybrid, yellow green.
I'll say in general of Digimon, not just card game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, in terms of the card game, I mean, you know me, I don't know too much of the lore. I normally defer to you and a third if he was here, but we don't have a third.
I don't know who it is.
Some guy. I think his name was like Michael.
Matthew.
Matthew. Marcus. I don't know.
Something.
Masaru. No. No. Anyway, so yeah, Leppy takes second place. Leomon, really good engine, especially with the what's it called? Leopardmon stuff. Rounding out third place, we had Chrome, who was piloting Black or Gray, had the big dilemma on what he was going to play. We said, go with what your heart tells you, and somehow his heart guided him to play Black or Gray as he beat his master, so to say, Dan. And then Gino rounding out fourth place with his rendition of Leomon, being the Heavy Leomon, Bancho Leomon version.
Yeah.
And then Dan skirted fifth place. So
yeah. I guess I had bad tiebreakers, opponent win percentages.
So TBL that was week 4, I believe. Yeah, that was week 4 TBL. So week 5 occurs this week, January 12th, 7 p.m. Be there, be square. Y'all know the deal. Y'all know where to join the Discord. Y'all know where to sign up. Y'all know who to ask questions to. For all intents and purposes, yes, Stan and I will be participating every Friday until Nats, just so that we can get our practice in, because we want to play against good people and test the shit that we're testing that's not just against each other. So if you're trying to jam some games, this is the time, baby. And if you're not following us on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube, or maybe not YouTube, or not part of the Discord, we just revealed our playmat designs for Series 2 of the Tamers Battle League. We got some fire designs for not only the playmats, but also TCG sleeves. They will be babies sleeves, so you'll just get them in a pack of 5, because sleeves are really expensive. I'll give you guys the logistics. Sleeves are so expensive. I wanted to print, I looked on Alibaba to get sleeves printed. They told me I need to order a minimum of 10,000 sleeves. When I did the math, it would mean that we need to pay $3,500 for, was it $3,500, Dan?
It was something like that. It was something really high like that.
It was something like $3,000 for 10,000 sleeves. And I did the math and I was like, if we sell these sleeves, it works, will make us, triple the money. Well, who the fuck is dropping $3,500 on sleeves?
We make good money, but we don't make that good money.
to just say, you know what? Yeah, let me just buy 10,000 sleeves. No problem. Because 10,000 sleeves, if we're giving you guys packs of 60, that's like 167 packs of sleeves. And if we sell those for
like $10, $10
bucks. Okay, no, then the math is wrong here. Then it wasn't $3,500. The math worked out that like we would make, it would be a good return on investment if the sleeves sold.
Right.
They're not. First, 3,500 is insane. We're not.
Mathing is not mathing right now.
The math does not compute. So, the sleeves they'll be Dragon Shield matte sleeves.
So they're good quality.
Very good quality. They're made using the custom sleeve designer thing on Dragon Shield. But it's cost efficient for us to be able to get them done, give you guys some custom sleeves. And hey, over the course of the season, who knows? Maybe you'll win, what is it?
Enough for a whole deck.
Is 10, I think you need 12 packs.
Yeah.
So you need to top it's at some point like 12 times that you can have enough to make a whole deck. But hey, it's what works until we can find a way to actually get you guys sleeves, because I would love to, just not for
$500.
Anyways, you can find that information out in Discord if you want to see those pictures. That being said, let's move on to our poll results and Q&A. So this one's a bit interesting. I asked the audience, what are your thoughts on Digimon Liberators? I gave them 5 options. We had 14 votes. I would go from the order of like most voted to least voted, but I'm just going to go from top down. So first option, thrilled, can't wait. People said 5 people said they are thrilled, cannot wait for Digimon Liberators. I didn't vote, but I am one of those people. So
Same.
6, 7. One person said upset, expected more. Now, I can't put like a lot of details in these questions on Spotify. So like, I would appreciate if you guys, if you want to, either elaborate on Discord or elaborate in the Q&A on Spotify, because I would love to know more about like why you give certain answers. For this person, upset, expected more, I would expect that you expecting more means you either expected an anime or a manga or something more than the Digimon Liberators announcement. So that's what we'll go with. If I'm wrong, just let me know. One person said, meh, only care about the card game, which is completely fair. Some people only play Digimon just because they like the mechanics of the game. They don't even care about Digimon per se. So that's totally fair. Now here's the case. One person said other, elaborate in Q&A, which they didn't. So fuck you, buddy. No, I'm kidding. I skipped over an option. So 6 people said, it's sus, unsure of value. I wish I could have elaborated on this, and I couldn't. So I'll elaborate on it now. So what this meant was unsure of what this brings to the value of the card game. Unsure of, like, you're waiting for more information. You want to know what's going to happen, but you're also like, you don't know how this benefits the card game. I think in the podcast, we did a pretty good job of saying how this benefits both the Digimon card game as well as just the Digimon franchise in general. So we won't elaborate upon that here. So for you 6 people who said sus, unsure of value, if you want to, please let me know in the Q&A how you feel. Otherwise, I'll just say, I think it has a lot of potential to do really good things for the card game, especially considering a topic that we're going to talk about later today. But it also has a lot of potential to just bring, if you think about the impact that Yu-Gi-Oh! Had on younger kids, we all grew up with it. We all said, oh my goodness, I want to strap my dual disc to my bike and ride it around the park so I can be like you say. Or was that just me? Was I the only one who tried some shit like that? I'm sure there are other people who tried shit like that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You're trying to pedal your bike, holding your cards. You're like, I summon Stardust. Oh shit!
I think that shows our age gap a little. That's why. That just shows the age gap of you and I a bit.
Yeah. 5Ds was on when I was 12. Yeah, I was in middle school when 5Ds was on, I believe. Because I remember taking camping trips with my friend, and we were in maybe 6th, 7th grade. And that's when we were thinking of all these 5D shenanigans, and synchros were new to us. We were like, oh my goodness, synchros. Wow. GX was before that, so of course we knew GX, but I didn't grow up with the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. I grew up with GX and 5Ds.
Yeah, I grew up with damn, I guess I just sound old now. The OG. literally the day one Yu-Gi-Oh! Dropped, I watched it and all the way through. I don't remember. I feel like 5Ds came out late, or it might be, what's the issue? I quit around that time. So that means if you was 12, I was probably 16 or 17, right?
For all intents and purposes, Dan, you were born in 93, I was born in 96, so you're 3 years older than me. So
There's
you were 15.
Way.
Yeah.
There's no way. So
it aired, 5D started airing in 2008. So that means I was 12.
That makes sense.
I was about 12 at the time that 5Ds came out.
So I was 15.
You were 15, so you were a sophomore.
Yeah, I already quit because that freshman year I realized no one played, so I quit. I've still watched it, but because of it was weird during that time frame. 5Ds was on
4 Kids, was that a thing still?
4 Kids, yeah. WB11. It was on WB. Yeah, it was that WB11 CW. Yeah,
kids WBs, CW, all that shit.
And then something happened, and then the Yu-Gi-Oh got cut off from there, and then it was on Cartoon Network. Yeah, later, and I missed a whole chunk of it. I was like, "Yo, what the hell is going on here now?" And then it went somewhere else. I think I don't remember. I feel like it went all over the place. 5Ds. I feel like
it's possible. Toon's Eye. I don't even know what the fuck Toon's Eye is.
Toon's Eye. I know what Toon's Eye. Toon's Eye was that was WB11 or 4 Kids. Okay.
In the British Isles, it aired on Disney XD. In the UK, it aired on this thing called Kicks. UK listeners, y'all know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I grew up with GX and 5Ds. So that was me. I was all Yusei and Jaden and the Steam, the Roids, Cyrus's Roids.
I loved the Roids.
I loved the Roids. Yeah,
they were so bad but good at the same time. Yes. It was just like if you actually played the card game, Barbaroid is at that time was not. It was a little bit later. Barbaroid came out, but that 4K B stick that took 5 Yurkois to make, but unkillable was great. I was like, yo, I gotta make this every single time. And then you power bond the bike, and then you're a 3600 beater that can swing twice.
Hell yeah, that was my childhood. That was where GX. I was. For all intents and purposes, Liberators isn't going to do that for kids because it's a web comic. That being said, we, the kids who grew up with that, are now older, and we read web comics and manga and all this shit online. So for all of us who grew up, I mean, there are people who get into card games every day and they're like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize, the other day I was playing Lorcana and somebody walked in, oh my goodness, I didn't realize Disney had a card game. And I don't know how old they were, but definitely wasn't a kid. So for all intents and purposes, like there's new people to introduce to every card game every day. So any way to bring more people into the game, and if nothing else, any way to market and bring more people into this game is a very welcome addition.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put like this. I doubt like anybody who knows Digimon doesn't know the TCG currently.
Yes.
But like Digimon Liberators can bring those people who maybe knew Digimon but didn't know this card game or don't care about a card game and maybe make them more interested into the card game.
Yeah, I mean, for all intents and purposes, the Digimon subreddit has, drum roll please, it has a total of 137,000 members. That's a lot of people when you consider that the Digimon card game subreddit only has 29.5 thousand people. That means there's technically 100,000 people who are into Digimon who aren't in the card game.
Yeah, that's a valid point.
That's a lot of people to try to get into the card. Now, obviously, good.
No, I was about to say, guarantee a lot of those people, like, they probably heard about Digimon Liberator and they're going to probably read it and then potentially, like I just said before, get into the card game.
Because there are some people who are like, oh, like, I see it. I was one of those people. Okay, let's put it like that way. I was one of those people. I love Digimon. I saw the Digimon card game come out in 2020. At the time, I was playing Card Fight, and I said, oh, that's really cool. I don't think I want to get into it right now, though. Like, I didn't know anybody who was playing it. I saw like 2 people play it at the shop, but like I was all in Card Fight at the time. And then I don't remember like how exactly I got into it. Just the one day I was like, you know what? Let's just try it. And that's without Liberators. Imagine if I had sat there and was like, oh my goodness, new Digimon content. And I read Liberators and I'm like, oh my fucking goodness, I have to play this card game.
Yeah. There's definitely going to be those people.
Obviously, Digimon's a bit bigger now, so if anybody knows Digimon, yeah, generally they should know the card game. But there's a big audience to be reached by just new media in general. So, for those of you who voted sus, unsure of value, let me know what exactly you're sus about, what exactly you're unsure about. We talk about it, baby. Now, y'all know about the choice restrictions. I said, what are some cards, combos, or decks that you think can make use of the newly found choice restrictions? So one thing I saw said in Discord was that they hoped that choice restrictions weren't the new norm, that not everything gets choice restricted, and that's not the point. I agree. That's not why I want choice restrictions. I just want it so that there are cards that stay playable while banning the interactions. Because, for all intents and purposes, what's it called? Chessmon and Savior Huck and Greymon, that was an unintended interaction. And Savior Huck didn't have to die for what it did with Greymon. In this day and age, I think that would have been the prime choice restriction. And that's all I care about. I don't care about the likes of, Anubismon, and especially after playing it. Fuck Anubismon, all right? Let's get that shade. Anubismon is who? I'm gonna get to.
Who thought it was? Okay to give all that effects?
Let's talk about Anubismon later. Anubismon and Mervamon. Originally, I wanted the choice restriction. After playing it, it's a good thing that Anubismon got hit. It's a good thing that it wasn't that they weren't choice restricted. Ray said, Dimension Scissor and Waro Seedramon are 2 that could be choice restricted. Combo shows the issue with not once per turn effects. And he also said Liberator is fine. Bandai just needs to announce it immediately. I agree. But Bandai, listen, you can stop being like, oh, hey, we got an announcement coming out for you in January. January comes, and we're like, okay, Bandai, where's the announcement? January 20th rolls around. Hey, remember we talked about this big announcement? Yeah, so it's going to be coming out in next month, and it's going to be on this website. That's all we had to say about it. Yeah, you could definitely give us that information fucking immediately. Because that's for sure. Yes. All right, now Waro Seedramon. Let's see what Ray's talking about here.
So there's a loop you can do.
I see it.
That
Yep.
you just keep on going, infinite memory gain type of thing.
So, Waroseedramon, when attacking, your opponent plays one level 4 lower Digimon card from their trash, suspended without paying the cost. Then you may switch the attack target to that Digimon. Combo that with the likes of Dimension Scissors, which is a very good card. Not like, sorry, let me rephrase that. It's not a very good card. It's just one of those cards that, like, all it takes is one, combo like this or one interaction to be like, oh my goodness, look at this card. It says, one of your Digimon gains the following effect for the turn when this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle and survives unsuspended. So, for all intents and purposes, it's a good thing that I don't think there's a piercing inheritable for level 4s and lower, because if there was, you could just swing Waroseedramon into this Digimon that plays out, then it pierces, and then they play it out again, but it doesn't unsuspend, which is a good thing. Oh no, sorry. I just read Dimension Scissors. So it unsuspends, and then you swing again, you play it out, and then you swing into it. So yeah, I don't know what the
I think you gain
is with.
You gain a memory. Don't you get like a memory off of Waroseedramon or something?
Oh, all turns once per turn when an opponent's Digimon is played by an effect.
Yeah.
All your opponent's Digimon gain on deletion, lose 1 memory.
Yeah.
I don't know why I missed that part. Yeah, that's a global effect. That means it counts for anything that comes into play. Yeah, that's retarded.
Yeah.
That's dumb.
So do you remember like back in the day, like that Black Greymon,
Yes.
the Secret and the Zudamon? It's
The really complicated one that was like improbable to get out. This one is so much easier because you just play a green tamer, you play Dimension Scissor, Waroseedramon, then you just keep playing it out till you spam up to 10. Do what you need to do and then just keep doing it. Yeah,
and if you're not done, keep doing it again. It's an infinite loop. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I agree, Ray. That one is dumb. That's definitely a choice restriction. Prime choice restriction material. Also, I do agree with not only not once per turn effects, but like just once per turn effects in general. Like Digiburst. Digiburst effects were once per turn. There were Promo Grand Coagumon? Why wasn't that just a once per turn Digiburst? Why was that shit not like just you guided by tutorials? Digiburst. Obviously, future planning. That's the answer. That card was a promo early on in the day of the game. Nobody thought Grandis was gonna do Grandis things.
No one
you could also
thought about X antibody, so you're getting double of the level, double of the ultimate, and so on.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, for all intents and purposes, that's the type of thing. I know DigiPanda. He released a video that I commented on. I can't remember which one it was. It might have been a deck profile he did on Anubismon, and somebody had made a comment about basically trying to errata cards instead of restricting or banning them. And DigiPanda had said, I don't know why Bandai won't do it either. And so I'll say it here. The reason Bandai won't do it is because of Dragon Ball Super. For all intents and purposes, Dragon Ball Super was Naruto was their first card game over here. But we don't count Naruto. Let's look at DBS because it's the first successful one that's been running for the last 6-7 years, however long it is.
Like
DBS is a mess. DBS is getting rebooted. DBS has had everything. They've had restrictions to one. I think they might have even had like semi-restrictions. I can't recall, so don't quote me on that. But they've definitely had restrictions to one, restrictions to none, and they've had nerf erratas, i.e. Senzu fucking Bean, a card from set 1 that finally got an errata nerf in set 20. That's what it took for that card to be. I mean, that card was always good, perpetually being good, perpetually a good blue card. And it just took one deck or not one deck, but a couple blue decks to take it beyond the echelon of being like, all right, we need to fucking nerf this card. They won't do erratas unless they're translation errors if they can help it, because it makes it easier on new players. Because that was my gripe. I mean, I played Dragon Ball competitively for a very short amount of time. The amount of shit that I had to remember, though, whether it's just the cards in general or which cards had fucking erratas, it's not like, I know Yu-Gi-Oh has its own.
I was about to say, once you were done, I was about to talk about the Yu-Gi-Oh side.
I know Yu-Gi-Oh has its own complete set of stuff, but for all intents and purposes, I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh is a game that it hasn't gone through a reboot. Yu-Gi-Oh is in a way still the same game it was. Still the same game it was since day one, simply because you can still play cards from the entire lifespan of the game. It's not like Dragon Ball, which is having Fusion World come out, where you can't use Masters cards in Fusion World. And so what they're trying to prevent with Digimon, my theory, but I say this with a lot of confidence, what they're trying to prevent with Digimon is going that route where it gets to be such a mess that they're like, maybe we should reboot the game, or maybe it's better we just implement rotation, which brings, we can talk about that later too, but a lot of people have a hard-on for rotation in this game. And I'm like, I don't fucking want rotation in this game. I don't know about y'all, but I don't want rotation in this game.
Real quick on the Yu-Gi-Oh side of things, it took them a while before they did like real ratas. And to the point is they had those cards were banned to zero before they like errata them, and they were like, all right, now we can make them playable. But there were certain cards that just like, because just how the nature of them, example, Necro Valley probably had like 20 erratas. Like
somebody showed me a card that literally had some wild amount of erratas. I was like, bro.
It's Necro Valley. I know for a fact it's Necro Valley.
No, it was a trap card. Was it like something Ring of Fire?
Ring of Destruction.
Ring of Destruction.
But Ring of Destruction did not have as many as Necro Valley. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. Because they like switched up. I swear to God, every year they had to update it because just weird interactions that were new that would come out, and they were like, oh, you can go bypass this, or like you can abuse Necro Valley with this, or something weird. So they were always.
Bro, it has 8 erratas.
Necro Valley.
Damn, yeah.
Is that what it is? Okay, I didn't know how much it had. That's crazy. But like, it took them a while before they started doing that, if I remember correctly. And then, oh
my goodness.
Once they start implementing like hard once per turns, and they start errating cards, like older ones that were like busted, like Sangan, to hard once per turns as well. And they switched up like how certain interactions happens or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But you said like technically Yu-Gi-Oh had a reboot, but it never rebooted to a new game. So like, for example, Lynx was a reboot. Because when
like new mechanics and stuff, right?
Introduction to Lynx changed the whole landscape of how Yu-Gi-Oh was. Pendulums was a new thing too, because Pendulums made the pendulum scale, and that was like a reboot as well. But it was like soft. It was soft reboots. That was a poor reboot. That was a poor thing they did. They should have never had they should have had the reboot, the pendulum scales in the spell and traps, and wouldn't be unfair.
When I learned about pendulums, I was like, what the fuck is this? But also, holy shit.
I like in my head, I was like, why didn't I think this was okay? Why would you play, let's say you're a pendulum deck versus a non-pendulum deck, why are you allowed to have technically 7 spell and trap card zones while another person only has 5? I was like, this is dumb as all hell. But anyways, let's not go on a tangent there. So like they had like things like Duel Links. So they still had regular Yu-Gi-Oh! And then they had smaller things where it was like, all right, we'll give Duel Links. Like Duel Links was kind of like they brought back like an old school style game, a little bit faster in the sense of you're not having 10-minute per turns, but you're only playing with 4,000 light points, I think it was, or 2,000. I don't remember. 4,000, 2,000 light points. And you have like, smaller zones, and they condensed it to the point where it was like easily accessible for a lot of those older people that got out of the game and they wanted to get back into it. While they still had their main Yu-Gi-Oh! Going on. And then they dropped other weird games, I guess. And then Master Duel, but Master Duel, it's the same game but different because it's only a best of ones and stuff like that. But they always had the core game, which is convoluted as all hell. But you had like other things you were able to do as well.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the fact that it's not even like little word changes. This is a whole fucking effect change. The original card said as long as this card remains face up on the field, all effects of magic, trap, and/or effect monster cards that involve graveyards are negated, and neither player can remove cards in the graveyards from play. In addition, increase the attack and defense of all monsters that include Gravekeepers in their name by 500 points. The final edition of the card says, all Gravekeeper monsters gain 500 attack and defense. Cards in graveyard cannot be banished. Negate any effects that would move a card in the graveyard to a different place. Negate any card effect that changes types or attributes in the graveyard. A middle point literally owned the only errata. It was just cards in either player's graveyards cannot be removed. So they went from the original effect, completely changed it to just include one effect. Then they put all back in and added one. Like, I think I agree. As much as I would love for some cards to be nerfed by errata, I have to agree with just outright banning them or limiting them, because then you fall into this pit hole.
Yeah.
Of, okay, well, we errata, for example, we think that Apocalypse could be fixed by making it a play cost 20 that reduces by 3 for every Dark Masters, and also by making it so that you only absorb Dark Masters. But then what's to say that there's a Dark Master that comes out in the future that doesn't do the same type of busted shit that Craniumon enables, or Metallic Dramon, or something else, while giving it like omnipotence?
That's more than an errata. If you're saying let's errata it and give it a play cost 20, that's a totally different thing. That's not just an effect. An errata is just based on the effect, though. You know what I'm saying?
Well, okay, so for intents and purposes, like, yes, but also no, because Digimon's cards are different from Yu-Gi-Oh's cards. Like,
I guess, but
like
errata is meant to be just for the like the text of
just
it,
for effects. But like, if you consider, like, I don't know of any card. I don't think any cards have changed in terms of play cost in Dragon Ball.
Right.
Maybe they have. I don't know.
No, I doubt
okay,
it.
let's say we forget that one, and we say, okay, well, for each Dark Master, reduce play cost by
2. That makes sense. Yeah.
So 2, 4, 6. So what is it? It's a play cost 15, right?
Yeah.
So then it becomes a 9 play cost. But then again, other Dark Masters comes out that gives Apocalypse some kind of omnipotence that makes it so you can't deal with it. Then you're like, well, shit, now we have to errata it again, or maybe we have to do something different, or we have to limit it. And so it's just better that the card gets limited and you just release a retrain of it. You know, I think that's something that Bandai's done fairly well. The problem is they don't release sets enough. Not that, okay, let me rephrase. They release sets enough for like my liking, but I think we could start doing, especially, and this kind of leads into our next topic, we could start doing with some more like side sets that's not just EX, like the LM, and there's another one coming out that I forget.
Yeah, I don't remember what it's called though.
I don't remember either, but it's I think it's the one that's specific to Ghost Game, like real specific to Ghost Game.
That's LMO2.
Or
LMO1, I don't remember.
Whatever it is, we could start doing with some more of those really smaller sets that's just like, okay, you know, we released this, for example, ban on Apocalypse, or this restriction on Apocalypse. Here's the new secret of LM03 that does, you know, something slightly similar, but something slightly different. And for all intents and purposes, yes, they are completely separate cards, but maybe it's just worth playing 4 of the newer one, you know? Examon is a good example.
Yeah.
DT13 Examon did not power creep EX3 Examon at all. But when they ever release Examon X, you know that not only is BT13 coming out of there, what the fuck is it going to do that makes it worth playing over EX3 Examon? And so it's like, we can use that sort of mentality to release sets and make them give us cards to replace some of these cards that are getting hit that do need to stay hit, like Ice Wall never coming off the restriction list. I can guarantee that. MDF, we don't even need we don't need anything similar. The only thing that MDF can do is maybe, I don't know, reduce cost, but then make it so that it can't attack. I don't know. There's no way that you can make a card do what MDF does and not have it be busted, in my opinion.
If you had a cost to it, if it was 3 or 4 cost instead of free, I think it makes it semi-fair.
A 3 cost, make it so that you have to, okay, so yeah, make it like a win rate, 60%.
Yeah.
Win rate is fair because win rate only reduces cost by 2. Because if you still end up paying 4 on a 6 to Digivolve. So yeah, win rate for all intents and purposes is the MDF replacement. But like no card like MDF would ever get printed again. But Dora Greymon, you know, we've got 3, I think now, Dora Greymons to choose from.
Yeah.
So, you know, talking about side sets and talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! The reason we were talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! So much is because this was a point brought up by Ray. So shout out to you, Ray. And I'm gonna gauge Dan's thoughts on this because I don't know much about Yu-Gi-Oh! And the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! But Ray says, what is our thoughts on getting English exclusive cards or lines or sets. So more specifically, English exclusive lines or sets, because obviously that's something that Yu-Gi-Oh does. And, I didn't know that Yu-Gi-Oh did that before an hour ago. So I always thought Yu-Gi-Oh was a Japanese everything first and then English,
Yeah, I'll talk about it. That'd be cool. 1, 2, they kind of do that, but like not really. They give us English exclusive arts. That's what they were doing. So like, if you care about that, technically it's cards, right? English exclusive. All right, let me stop now. So I think that'd be really cool because then you give us a different, like, our metas, if they're meta relevant, I should say, because sometimes they were not for Yu-Gi-Oh. If they're meta relevant, it helps change our meta around and makes it different. So it's not exactly, I won't say our metas are cookie cutter to Japan's and ours, because there's some variance to it, right? Like, I think if we would have seen a longer BT14, we would see Fenrir not being as dominant for us as they were for them. I think that's an example, right? Usually some reason like their top decks aren't always like the most dominant for us. Outside, I don't know, you want to say Shine was dominant, but Shine was clearly...
It was dominant in terms of tops, but it didn't win a whole lot. I guess. Which is also due, for all intents and purposes, that's also due to the difference in fucking event sizes.
Yeah.
Because their big events that they're winning are like 32, maybe 64-man tournaments, whereas Shine is having to make it through a fucking 500-player pool over here.
Yeah. True. And that was a valid point. It's a valid point on that aspect. But so back to the thing. So for Yu-Gi-Oh, I don't know I don't remember exactly when they started, and I don't know if they still continue it. Let me put it like that. They used to, for the main sets, give us new archetypes for the English exclusive for a while. I think it would take like within the year for Japan to get them, and they don't get them all at once. Usually like a 10 or something. I don't know what it was, but I know they got them after a while. So examples of like English exclusive we got was Spirals. That was a rogue tier deck at best when it first came out, with new support, and then links, and then when they made Spiral Double Helix, that became a tier 0 deck. They dropped Kaijus. That was an archetype that was based on, Godzilla, and it was all about the 1v1. So it was about tributing your opponent's monsters, and you play your own, and then you face off, and the whole point is for you to kill it. And then they had other effects. Kaijus was never a great deck on its own, but it became a very good counterplay to opponents' decks in the sense of you can play, let's say, a Kaiju in your side deck, and that was a good side deck type of card to out anything that was unkillable, basically, right? They made UAs, which for a split second was okay at best, if I remember correctly. I don't remember. It was an OTK style deck. What else? Cosmos was a really big one. That was a tier 1 deck. That was probably their first tier 1 that was an English exclusive. It was a mix of Star Wars and oh my god, Star Wars and I can't believe I'm forgetting. It has the Lion, the Tin Man, and
you talking about Wizard of Oz?
Wizard of Oz, that's what they did. The Wizard of Oz. It was a mix of those. It was super cool how they did it. You like all the art, you can see that's what it was. It was really cool.
You said the Lion, and I almost said the Witch in the Wardrobe.
Yo, I couldn't think of Wizard of Oz at that moment. But like that was an example of like, I think that was like 2 busted, because that was like crazy strong tier 1 of a deck. And then they had some others I don't remember, but like it was really cool because it made our metas different. It made it diverse. It made it, not exactly the same as JP's. I mean, what also helps is that they have 2 different ban lists, so that also helps in the sense of different metas. So I would love to see, since we're in the same aspect of we're behind, of them dropping maybe an archetype or 4 or 5 cards that changes our game a little bit. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it could definitely be cool. I mean, like you said, we kind of have some English exclusive, but they're only arts. They're not cards.
Yeah.
They're not effects, nothing enough to change the meta. And for all intents and purposes, if you want to think about it that way, that's what the promos are. That's what the promos do at the time that Bandai decides to fucking release them. But those are cards that when we see them, we fucking want them, It's not like, oh, training boost, cool. Oh, sure, I'll take that when BT 17 rolls around. No, I fucking want it now. Japan's playing with it during BT 15. I want that card in BT 15. So I think it would be cool to have cards that do that, but it would have to be obviously cards that Japan doesn't get, because then it defeats the purpose. Because if Bandai's going to give it to us later, then we're going to get super fucking upset.
I forgot. Burning Abyss was one of the greatest decks of all time, arguably. That was a TCG exclusive. That was TCG first before OCG got it. Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, so I think it would be cool, but to what I was saying earlier, I think it would just be cool to have English exclusive sets and not anything. Like, I don't want to exclude Japan. So if we have any Japanese players, any player base, whatever, I'm not saying that I want you guys excluded. I'm just saying that, like, because you guys play them, because JP plays the meta first, it would be cool to have things that diversify our meta outside of just, player difference. Because at the end of the day, player difference does say a lot. And obviously the format, there's Japan's specific best of one compared to Asia's best of three. But then also, like I said, the difference of playing in a 32-man tournament versus playing in a 400 to 500-man tournament. So it would be cool to have cards and lines or sets that make it so that this is something that's untested. It's not just let me throw together, let me just net deck. And hey, nothing against net deckers, but because I do it too. Let me just net deck whatever list just won with, say, Anubismon. Go try it out and see how it does, compared to, here's something that's completely untested. Maybe I want to roll the dice. Maybe I'm going to devote my time to playtesting this unproven shit that looks like it might actually be able to do something, So I think I would love for that type of thing. It's one reason I loved BSS. I love the concept of it. Here's an entirely new card game that, yes, there's battle spirits, but it's, for all intents and purposes, Saga was its own game. It had its own meta to find out, and I love that. The game was improperly managed in terms of game balance right from the door. The release of Axe Spider. As a purple player, I loved Netherworld Depths, but as non-purple players, I can see where the frustration with that card comes in. As a purple player, I fucking hate Axe Spider. But then there's also just the the management of the game in general. So BSS was a big love for me. That's why I like DBS. DBS, people play tested before, obviously, but DBS is its own English and French, because it's localized in French, but English exclusive card game, because it's based, I don't even know if it's based off of Heroes or if they literally just make cards,
I don't know.
That was the cool thing about playing those games. Playing One Piece now, the big thing is that they're one set ahead. We're on OP5, they're on OP6, and they're going to get OP7. So they're only one set behind, but they're about to start getting side sets. But for all intents and purposes, everything is solved. The deck comes over, and then you kind of just pick up and play it. There's nothing really to experiment with. I know that's a regret that our friend Mark has. He's like, I'm the type of player where I want to really get in there and figure out a deck list, not just be like, all right, well, cool, I guess I'll, play this already optimized deck list. One of the advantages of playing the JP format, So I think that I don't think there's a downside to it, I think the only thing is that, it's more pressure on Bandai, on their already increasingly big plate of pressure of dealing with, let's count it, Digimon, Battle Spirit Saga, Dragon Ball Super Masters, Dragon Ball Fusion World, Union Arena, One Piece, Am I missing a card game, or did I get them all?
I think you got them.
I think I've got them all. That's 6 card games. And yes, there are different teams managing each card game. But you know what 6 different teams are not doing? They're not manufacturing the cards. It's the same printers. It's the same exact distributors. Like, these people are the ones who's really dealing with the brunt of... It's everything post-development team that's dealing with the brunt of Bandai having 6 different card games. It needs to go get manufactured. So it needs to get printed, then it needs to be shipped. And then when it gets to the distributors need to ship it out to their stores. And then those stores need to sell it. And then, TOs, TPG, Core TCG, Play TCG, Carta Magica, Top Cut, that's 5 I just named. They all do not only Bandai tournaments, some do Pokemon, some do Yu-Gi-Oh!, some do Magic, some do Lorcana. It's so much that everybody post-dev team has to handle, and I don't think Bandai realizes this. They're so fucking greedy that they're just like, dip my grubby hands.
Oh yeah.
Put my fucking grubby ass hands in the pot. Let me see what let me just take this TCG, throw it at the wall, see if it sticks. And it's like, hey, listen, one piece is still on the wall. The Digimon is right next to it. DBS was there, but you let that shit slide off. Like, fucking be content. Like,
yeah, no. Real quick though, I just saw it because I didn't know the year it started. So for Yu-Gi-Oh, right, their OCG and TCG split of their ban list happened in 2013. So I remember that was a whole like 10, 12,
that's a decade ago.
13 years. No, I know, but that was a whole like 10, 12, 13 years of them being the same list, because Yu-Gi-Oh started in 2001. And so I hope that, because I can understand back then it was a lot different, right? Back then the internet was not the same. Back then, we couldn't just Google, hey, Yu-Gi-Oh right here, right?
That's facts.
We couldn't do all that. So like, I understood why
you couldn't just get your list off of Twitter, you know?
Exactly. There was no Twitter. There was none of that. Like, social media wasn't big back then until, later on.
Word of mouth.
Yeah, I could understand why it took so long. Like, I remember they had their own they had the Yu-Gi-Oh.com, obviously, which they had the ban list. And I remember I think they used to like get like the books. Do you remember like the magazines they used to cover like what was
like the Yu-Gi-Oh magazine?
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh magazines. Yeah,
that's lit.
They used to have like different things for that back in the day. So like, I can understand why back then it took so long for them. But now we're at an age where, technology is all in our hands. We have smartphones, we have everything, internet. We know what's going on in Japan, and we live in the Western Hemisphere.
From the moment it happens.
So like, I think as, Digimon, I think we can, because the game started a whole year after. I know we're technically 3 sets behind, right? 3, 4 sets.
What are we on? We're about to be on EX5, and they're on BT 16. So BT 15, 16.
And their reviews for EXO6 is about to happen soon, very, very soon.
So yeah, they're 2 sets ahead of us right now, which is, for being, staggered, an actually really good place to be.
It's not that bad when you think about it. I think it's because they slow down their sets a little. For JP, I feel like a tad maybe. Yeah, because they had the star decks that dropped.
Our BT 15 hits in February.
Yeah.
And they'll be on BT 16 getting EX6 reveals.
Probably, yeah. Sounds about right. They're already looking at BT 16
just dropped in December.
Yes, it did. But even though we're only like 2, sometimes 3 sets behind, depending on how it falls, it feels like it's so far different at the same time, because it's like, what, like, it's for us sets, we get through about 3 months in between ish. So like, that's usually about 6 months in advance. It's just, I don't know. We should still have a different ban list.
Let's put it in perspective. We're getting BT 15 in like the first week or 2 of February.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, they get EX6. But EX6 doesn't drop for us until June. So March, April, May, June. That's 4 months away.
And by then, that's BT 17 for sure.
Yeah, they'll definitely be on BT 17 BT18.
Possibly.
We don't even know anything about BT18 at this point.
Or at least EX07 at that point. But yeah, so like, just because we're so, not so behind, because when you think about it, we're not that behind, but we're behind by, months-wise in the year. Like,
months is what to consider, yeah.
Half of the year we're behind. If you think about like half a year, we're about 6 months behind-ish. That's a big, time gap. So I think it's realistic to think that we can get TCG exclusives.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. There's nothing I can say to disagree. I know there are a lot of people who call for like the global alignment of the game, and honestly, I can't think of any reason not to globally align the game.
Yeah.
There's really no argument
they will, though.
against. They won't. But I've seen a lot of people say like shit, and I will argue against rotation, but
no, fuck that.
I can't argue against globally aligning the game. If Bandai came out tomorrow and said, "Hey, here's release special booster version 2, and we're about to catch you guys up with Japan," I'd be like, "Okay, bet." That's it. Every other card game out the door, because I literally won't have time to focus on anything but Digimon, because everything will be completely new when Japan gets it, we get it.
Yeah, that would be great.
It gives us reason to want to play test the upcoming set, because I know there are people who play test like BT16 right now, and I'm like, listen, I'm excited for BT16 as much as you guys, but I'll play it when it gets here, just because Japan's already playing it. We still got to focus on EX5, BT15, let alone BT16 type thing.
Unless we got a legit Digimon sim.
Unless, which is coming out. It's coming out at some point. Sorry, let me rephrase. Not the official sim, but an automated sim is coming out at some point. No timeline on when.
Is making it.
Yes. But yeah, I think we could globally align. Now, to the argument of rotation, I don't understand. I'm going to ask this question. What the fuck is the purpose of rotation in this card game? I don't understand why anybody advocates for rotation, because it's not like, okay, One Piece for right now, everything from set 1 everything everywhere is expensive, but that's because One Piece right now is like the new in thing for scalpers and investors to buy. So it's understandable, but Digimon is nowhere near that. The only reason that old shit is getting expensive is because it's coming out of print, like BT8 shit, Magnamon. Like, yeah, that was, Dan, how long ago was that? That was like a year and a half ago, right? BT8? At this point? That was like August. Not last year, 2022.
Yeah, something like that.
So like, understandable. Like, I get it, but it's still not absorbently expensive. There's nothing like, oh, this is why we should have rotation. And I don't want to hear the argument of, oh, like it keeps things fresh. Like, what is it keeping fresh? Like, to me, that reads as the same argument of why some of y'all wanted Aizmon Scatter Mode to be hit so that Purple has to play new cards. Show me the new Purple cards that are good enough to replace Aizmon Scatter Mode. Can you show me, apparently, a Belphemon deck placed second at Latin American Regionals. So I'm very curious to know what that deck profile looks like. But outside of that, show me a Belphemon top not running Aizmon Scatter Mode. Psych, it's not there.
Doesn't exist.
Dobermon is cool, but it's nowhere near what fucking Scatter
Absolutely
Mode was.
Absolutely not.
If you're gonna say rotation so that they have to reprint certain cards, what cards? What cards need to be reprinted?
We got reprints set already.
What cards need to be reprinted? Scatter Mode? Surely not. Do you want me to go on TCG Player and look up the price of Scatter Mode? Right?
Pennies.
Like, I just don't know. I'm not trying to hear it. I don't think this card game needs rotation. I think this is a card game that needs the entirety of its card pool. If it were to ever have rotation, that would mean that there's been such major power creep that the old cards aren't worth running.
Even then, like, decks just get like, there's so many decks that still use some old cards. It's like, and that are important to the decks.
Yes.
So it's just like, it just cuts decks' powers in half sometimes, or like a quarter of it. And it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, if you play like a Greymon deck and you only could play from, I don't know, BT 12 to 14, like there's so much older stuff that they use still that you can't use. Let's say you say BT12. Well, let's go with Blackwood Greymon. Whenever is Blackwood Greymon 12 or 11? I always forget.
Blackwood Grey X is 11. Yes.
Yeah, that's I'm saying with that line. If you go BT11, actually no way. There's War Greymon. It's BT12. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. For BT12 to 14, right? That means you can't use Second Attack plus 1 Greymon. You can't use Omnimons. You can't use ties. You can't use a lot of things.
Well,
if you're like blocking, rotation format, which is so weird. I don't know.
For all intents and purposes, you can use a tie because they have the newer ties with the block on them that says a 1.
It depends.
But that's what they would need to do. Like they would need to do that all the time. Cards with that block. And
like,
there's no value in that.
How do you rotate the sets? Like you just go by those blocks? Then that means like if they decide to have a rotation of set 0 or block 1 or whatever it is, you know how boring of a format that would be in comparison nowadays? Like it would be so like you're red Omni or blue Omni basically. And it's just like, all right, cool. That's it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it in Digimon.
It doesn't make sense in Digimon. And maybe a green deck.
Yes.
Like, I don't know. I'm not about it.
Yeah, in Pokemon, I don't even understand the point of it in Pokemon, so somebody who plays Pokemon competitively can enlighten me. The only thing I'll say is that in Pokemon, it makes the decks cheap as fuck. Like, almost any competitive deck in Pokemon is cheap as shit.
It's like $50, right?
Max for base rarity. And so that makes, Pokemon a very cool card game to play because, it's so cheap, you can literally pick it up for pennies. But outside of that,
but also Pokemon is a game that's been going on for 20 plus years. It has 10,000 cards in its stock, so they could be like, all right, let's rotate certain situations and it will be fine. Digimon is not in that situation.
So what they do is they rotate. They have I think it's a yearly based rotation, and they rotate. But the thing is, they're always reprinting cards. Like for example, I don't know what the current series is, but the first professor that comes to mind is Professor Rowan for me. Professor Rowan is Professor Oak, is Professor Birch, is they all do the same exact thing. Discard your hand, draw 7 new cards.
Okay.
But they're all the same card. They're just reprinted for whatever the new series is. So they rotate out, the Professor Oak, but then you can still use like Professor Rowan or Birch or whatever the current one is, But then they'll have a card, like maybe a staple, like Escape Rope, which is swap one of your Pokemon out with a Pokemon on your bench. And that can be rotated out.
That card is still being used. I used to play that when I played in the very, very beginning of Pokemon.
Yeah, that one is still used. But Mew VMAX. Mew VMAX has some, Mew is in a way, it's a very coin flip deck. Because it uses, I forget what the cards are called, but it's a card that basically looks at the top of your deck. And if it's a certain type of card, I think you add it to your hand. If not, it goes to the bottom or some shit like that. Or maybe you flip a coin to be able to do that or some shit like that. That's a card that doesn't get reprinted. That's a card that will be rotated out with block E, let's say, and then it won't get it again. So now Mew has to play new cards. But, I kind of get it. But at the same time, it kind of nerfs Mew as a deck because they don't necessarily release new cards for Mew to use. I don't know. I haven't played Pokemon in the last few months, so I don't know what a current Mew build looks like. But you're right. Pokemon has tens of thousands of cards over the course of many, many, many years. So does Magic, and so does Yu-Gi-Oh! Even Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't have rotation. So why the fuck do you want rotation in Digipod?
I don't know.
I just don't get it. I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, let me know. Why do you want rotation in the Digimon card game? Because I don't personally see the value in it. It provides no value. Now, before we end pod, I did miss 2 comments. So let me read the comments real quick before we end. One of them I'm going to respond to. J-Sort said, the only thing I could think is Apocalypse, but they already took care of it. It would have to be something broken like the Dawn cards. That combo was just way beyond what anyone could have thought possible. I don't know what that means. I don't know what card game that is, so J-Stort, let me know.
Well, he said the Dawn cards. Does he mean like One Piece?
No.
Oh.
DAWN. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, I know what he's talking about then.
Okay.
He's talking about a Galaxy Loop.
Oh, okay. Well, then, yes. Yeah, I mean, that's obviously not a combo. Anybody
I thought you said Dawn. That's why I was like, wait.
Dawn.
That makes...
Sorry, let me enunciate. No.
Hey, I didn't say do all that. It just sounded like you said Dawn. That's why I was like, wait, Dawn, like One Piece Dawn? I don't understand.
No, like the dawn of mankind now.
Yeah.
And then Chris says, MDF and Susanumon. The interactions between these cards weren't planned and is the reason stated by Bandai for banning MDF. That card isn't that strong nowadays as it needs a white source in play. Disagree. I'm just gonna say it. Ruin mode.
Free.
Do you want what Marcus is able to do in Shine Gray to happen for any deck that can utilize playing Ruin mode?
Lilith Loop will still be a thing.
Lilith Loop would play those analog youths like nobody's business and say, I'm gonna MDF into Ruin mode. I'm going to neg 10, delete, and fucking hatch a new egg and gain memory when Ruin mode dies and make it so that you can't play your next turn.
Like MDF plus analog youth, like who wouldn't play analog youth in a deck to have access to MDF realistically?
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe outside of like 1 or 2, 3 decks, like shit, I would in most decks.
That's like Lilith Loop. Like, yes, I know MDF was banned because of Susanumon. Like, that was explicitly stated because of both yellow and blue hybrid. But it was also heavily abused in Lilith Loop at the time.
Yeah.
The entire combo was you play either, at the time you were playing Takumis, or you were playing the Mat and Ties to get the Sec +1. Some people were playing the Manoa. Some early on it was the Manoa, but then you could play the Takumi, or you could play the Mat and Tie for the Sec +1 on the Omnimon. But you MDF into Omni Zwart, you spit out the 3 bodies, you Digivolve into a Lilith, you pull back the Jack Raids. It was the entire concept of the loops that we're trying to ban. You just had to do a lot more work to do them back then. Imagine being able to do that with Ruin mode now. Like, that's dumb. And especially with the likes of Louis and Ukomon. Like, you... All right, let's brainstorm it, right? With Louis and Ukomon in a Lilith Loop deck, you could MDF into a Ruin mode, swing, kill yourself, hatch a new egg, Digivolve, play Louis, push that stack out, do it all over again. Because remember that the egg you hatch, that Digimon can swing that turn if it needs to. You can, no. MDF is a banned card for a reason, and it will never be unbanned. The things that MDF and Lilith can enable are retarded.
I agree on that.
I just thinking about MDF and now Ruin mode, like free Ruin mode, we don't need free Ruin modes.
We don't need free quartz. Free
quartz is one thing, right? Because if quartz goes away, the perma lock is gone. So that doesn't matter. What matters more is something like Ruin mode that persists afterwards, or even a free Dexmon to an extent. Because if you can just de-digivolve an entire board, and then, get a swing for game or whatever other level 7 could come out. Can you imagine free Apocalypse, bottom deck Apocalypse?
What a great time it would have been.
Because it's at the end of the turn, so you get your end of a turn effects, and then it gets bottom decked.
Hey, can't you put Cranium on or whatever and save?
Yes.
Would that work?
Yes. Yeah, or that's another thing. Yeah. Some kind of Omni Zoo deck that plays MDF, Digivolve into Omni for real cheap, but then because of protection, if maybe somehow they shoehorn Greymon protection in there or something, prevent it from leaving play.
That'd be some funny shit.
Yeah.
Just think about it, you're put it around because all the DMs you were able to, or the flow 5s of their subordinates, you're able to pull a level 6 DM and raise that, go into MDF into Apocalypse,
do
whatever shenanigans or something, and then end of turn, the row Craniumon or something underneath, and then
so
just,
Craniumon wouldn't save it because that's opponent's effects.
Oh, okay.
Opponent's
So
Digimon. No, card effects? I think it's just, I can't remember. It's one or the other. But I think it's specifically target opponents. It doesn't save it from your own.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, you could still get, or a Pokemon doesn't have a when Digivolving, does he? Is it just on play?
No, yeah, it's still on play.
So, I mean, maybe Free Pokemon isn't as bad as it sounds, but Free Ruin Mode is pretty bad sounding. Y'all hate Ruin Mode already. Y'all hate getting Ruin Mode locked out of your turn. Imagine if you got an MDF into a Ruin Mode playing against Lilith Loop. You want to talk about uninteractable loops? That's an uninteractable loop right there. It don't care about it being bottom decked because it's just going to delete itself. What the fuck does it matter? You know? Oh man, I just thought of something that let's keep MDF on the ban list, please. We don't need those kinds of shenanigans in the card game, especially if we don't want people to rage quit.
Yeah, it's Digimon isn't affected by the effects of your opponent's turn.
Right.
Never mind. It wouldn't be too bad for a Pokemon.
So, that being said, we've covered everything we've got to cover. Dan, what's your parting words?
I don't got much today, at least.
I got you.
Practice for Nats, guys. Practice for Nats.
Yeah, so Tua's gonna throw for,
Hey, that man should be on like some type of suicide watch. I don't know. That was such a bad loss, and then now they gotta play the Chiefs at Arrowhead. Oh my god!
Wrap it before you tap it, boys. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. That was a good impersonation. I mean, I didn't even say that correctly. Oh my god!
All right. Anyways, that is it for today's episode of DigiPod, the digital podcast. So we talk to you guys next time. Oh my goodness, I got an eyelash in my eye. Peace out.
Catch you on the next one.